Hi, it's Tmichelle Birdsong, mainstreaming clues to the marginalized. This is my personal history I'm sharing as Eve, mother of the earth. I think you have a right to know my personal history. This is my first husband, Edwin Birdsong. This is me. We're dancing at, and that's Hassani. We're dancing at Cynthia Allen's wedding rehearsal. No, what do you call it? Reception. It was some time ago. And this is Sing Birdsong, our son. And that's Edwin. He doesn't do hair anymore. And here I wrote, like father, like son. They both do music. Sing's a guitar player, a hell of a great guitar player, because he used to be Jimi Hendrix in another life. And it says, like mother, like son. He's a spiritual adept. And he was Jagat Singh, see, in past life. That's Singh, okay? No, so I want to show you Edwin's trip. These are the people who sampled his music, his later music. I did some of his lyric early on and helped him get established, and then he did his own thing. So this is De La Soul. They did sample his music. Snoop Dogg sampled his music. Mary J. Blige sampled his music. Sing played on one of her records, Dream. It was called Dreams or Dream. Kanye West sampled Edwin's music. Daft Punk, and lots of people, but these are the ones I remember. This is a photograph of Edwin Birdsong and Stevie Wonder and two white women. This is a picture of Edwin at the piano playing before 100,000 people. The song that I wrote, It Ain't No Fun Being a Welfare Recipient. So it says I'm the lyricist. And this is his first album. That song is on the album. And this is his masterpiece album. But Hitler smushed it. He removed it. I saw it. I do remote viewing. And I saw him and Berry Gordy remove this album from #1 and put Stevie Wonder's album in its place. Yeah, that happened. And this is Edwin now. He looks cool, huh? All these years later. I think he looks cool there. And this is Edwin in a previous life when he was Marc Chagall, the painter. Let's see what else. This is Edwin when he was Johann Sebastian Bach. You know, he used to, when we were married, he played Bach every day. He practiced Bach every day. And then when I found out he was Bach, I said, no wonder. And he was Mr. Spock, you know, cool and logical. Irving Berlin, Edwin was Irving Berlin, the man who wrote the patriotic songs. America, God, my country, 'tis all those wonderful patriotic songs. And they said that he always stopped when his grandchildren wanted to come in. He stopped writing. And Edwin's enjoying his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, he tells me, a lot these days. This is the evolving of the hair. It started, my mother, no, this is my great-grandmother, Mama Sally. She's reborn as Ostara Gloria. Okay, but when she was Mama Sally, she was the full-blood, no, her mother was a full-blooded. This is Sitting Bull, right? This is who Mama Sally is now. But look at the hair, the two braids, right? That's Sitting Bull. This is Confucius, Sammy. He lives here in St. Francis residence. And I do too. Okay, so then my mother, it started with Aunt Minnie doing Mama Sally's hair. Mama Sally was tender-headed, and she wouldn't let anybody near her hair but Aunt Minnie. And her hair was that long too. And then Aunt Minnie would braid it, and then she'd pin it up on top of her head, on top of Mama Sally's head. So you never got to see her beautiful, gorgeous hair, except if you were there when she was combing it. And then when Aunt Minnie's husband, Uncle Herman, died, Uncle Herman was born on my birthday, April 9th, and I loved him. He was a cab driver. He was such a gentleman. But anyway, he died early, so Aunt Minnie had to learn some skill. She learned to do hair. And she was a hairdresser for years and years. And so anyway, my mother used to she came back as my granddaughter, Jandara, who was also the saint, Baba Jamal Singh. See, these people come back in our lives. And she used to French braid our hair. This is an example of French braiding. And then Miss Emma May, the lady who lived down the street when my mother was at work, I would go down the street and she treated me like her little doll. She would do my hair. And she would do things like this, fancy. And I'd go to school and people wouldn't say a word. This was 1955, right? Nobody was wearing the hair. They acted like they were blind. They didn't say a word about it. I just thought about that the other day. I said, my God, she did all this creative work and they didn't even notice. Anyhow, when Edwin said he wanted to braid his hair for his album, this is the kind of braiding I did. And believe me, he had a huge fro and it took a long time. And he would sit there patiently. I would talk about the Mystic Bible. I'd try to get him to read spiritual books while he sat on the floor between my legs as I plaited his hair with sulfate ointment, which I oiled the scalp with. And, oh, I don't have the back of it. Oh, yeah, I can show you. See how I parted it? Where's the back of it? Look at that. I parted it in squares, and it took a long time. And then I noticed they squashed the album, but people got the hairstyle. People wear plaits all